everyone, welcome back to the Manchester Gym Show with GNAT-TV. Thank you for having us back. So thanks for joining us again. We are going to talk about resistance training today. For the sake of keeping it simple, we're going to lump strength training, resistance training, weight training all into one thing here, one segment. So we're going to show you a couple of moves to get started with strength training and just kind of show you some basic things. The benefits of resistance training are usually underappreciated. We think of resistance training, we think of building muscle, which is, yes, one of the major benefits of resistance training, but we don't think about the strength that we gain from it, we improve balance, we improve insulin sensitivity, which basically means that you're going to process carbohydrates better. Overall, you're going to prevent injury, improve balance, and the benefits of building muscle include all of those things as well as shaping your body and aging well. So this is going to help increase bone density, which is another benefit that people don't often think of when they think of weight training. The focus is usually on muscle. For my ladies out there who might be a little bit intimidated when it comes to resistance training, or thinking that building muscle or incorporating resistance training into your workout is going to cause big muscles to be built very quickly, don't worry. I promise you it is not going to happen. You're not going to blow up and become a huge bodybuilder overnight if you touch a weight. It's a very slow process to build muscle, but a very important one, and it takes a lot of time. And I promise you, you will feel better, you will look better, and you will reap all the benefits adding resistance training into your daily program. All right, so let's get started. First thing you always want to do before any workout is warm up, especially when you're resistance training. The last thing you want to do is come into a weight room or your home gym and pick up a heavy weight and just immediately start working out with it, squatting, doing whatever. Because your muscles are cold, you're more likely going to hurt yourself, pull a muscle, and then have to take a step back, take time away from it. So injury prevention is key, and the first step to that is warming up properly. So we are going to go over some basic strength training movements. We're gonna do some leg movements and some upper body movements and just go over kind of some core basics. And starting with warm-ups, so cardio is always a good way to warm up your body. So that can be cardio of your choice, 5 to 10 minutes. That's just gonna get the blood flowing, get your muscles warm, and get your body ready and your mind ready for the workout. So it could be walking on a treadmill, walking outside. If you have a bike or an elliptical type machine, a rowing machine is a great warm up for the whole body. And then dynamic stretches. So static stretching is when we hold a stretch for a long time. So if we're gonna stretch our hamstring, and this is kind of what you typically think of when you're stretching, you're just holding that stretch for a minute or so. That we wanna save for the end of the workout. So for our warm-ups, we wanna do more dynamic stretching, which just means that you're going to move your muscles through a range of motion. So if you're trying to warm up your shoulder, doing some arm circles, big movements, these kind of things, that's gonna get the muscles stretched, but through the whole range of motion. So foam rolling is another great way to warm up. So this is your basic foam roller. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes. You'll see shorter ones, ones with little knobs on them. But this is basically a self-massage technique. So you kind of roll around on it on the floor. You can do your legs, you can do your back, you can do your upper back, your lats, And there's other also smaller ball type rollers, like 2 big balls in a sleeve that we have here at the gym. Lacrosse balls, tennis balls, so all of these tools can be utilized to help kind of break up the tissue and get it a little bit more pliable and ready for a workout. It also increases blood flow to those muscles as well. So that's a really important part of the warm-up. And then besides that, as soon as whatever movement you're doing, it's always a good idea to do warm-up sets of that movement before you get into your, what we call working weight, which is the weight that you're gonna use that is going to actually challenge you. So getting into the actual movements and workout piece of it, typically I'll recommend 1 to 2 warm-up sets. So say we're gonna do a squat. Today I'm gonna show you a goblet squat. And this is a movement that you can do here at the gym. You can do it easily at home. You don't have to use a dumbbell. You can use really any object that you can hold that has some weight to it. But we're just gonna hold the weight right at our chest. Our feet are gonna come just outside hip width, and we want the toes angled out slightly. So we wanna kind of keep those elbows underneath. We're gonna keep the chest up, and then we're gonna drop down into a squat. So everybody's mobility and range of motion is going to be different. So don't feel like you have to get all the way down to parallel. So to show you a side view, so I can go pretty low in my squats, but based on your body, your needs, you might not be able to go that low, which is absolutely okay. So just work to your level. You can start with a nice shallow squat. As you get warmed up, you can try to go a little bit deeper, and just pay attention to how your knees feel, how your hips feel. But this is really, it's working primarily the lower body, your quads, your glutes, your hamstrings, but it's also really working the core well. And then you're getting a little bit of upper body work as well, just holding that weight. So this was a 25-pound. So say I was gonna work up to a 40-pound weight for my working sets. I would start with maybe a 20 or 25, work up to a 30 or 35 for my warm-up sets, and then do 40 or whatever that higher weight is for 2 to 3 working sets. A big question is always, how many reps do I do? How many sets do I do? How long do I rest in between sets? I would just say don't overthink it too much. Ideally, we want to shoot for between 8 and 15 repetitions, and you want to be using a weight that's going to challenge you by the end of that set. So muscle damage that we're creating during the exercise is what is going to lead to strength gains and muscle gains. So if it's easy and you're not really working that hard, it's probably not going to elicit that much change for you. However, that being said, doing anything is better than nothing, so don't feel like you have to kill yourself right off the bat. It's something that you can certainly work up to. But just try to kind of slowly increase that resistance and get the feel for how hard you're working during those sets. So 8 to 15 repetitions, we want to be kind of close to failure towards the end of the set, which means that you can't really do, you could maybe only do a couple more reps. And then anywhere between really 1 and 3 sets would be good. If you're brand new and you've never done this before, you've never worked out before, 1 to 2 sets will probably be a good place to start. And then as you adapt and you get better, you get stronger, you'll want to try to increase weight and increase reps and sets. The rest in between sets is something I see a lot. Is people come in and they do a set and they only rest about 20 or 30 seconds, which really isn't enough rest for you to be fully recovered for the next set. So I would recommend between a minute and 90 seconds, or 1 to 2 minutes in between sets. And the harder the set is, the more time you're gonna need to rest in between. So next I'm gonna show you a deadlift variation. This is going to be, so there's 2 different types of deadlifts. There's a Romanian deadlift and there is a conventional deadlift. The conventional deadlift is where you're gonna pick a weight up from the floor and you're getting a little bit more knee bend. It's a little bit more of a full body movement. Today I'm gonna demonstrate the Romanian deadlift because it's a little bit more simple, I think, to learn. And most people often have weak glutes and weak hamstrings, and this is a great exercise to build up some strength in those muscle groups. So I'm going to demonstrate with a set of dumbbells, but you can do this with a barbell, or again, if you have, things, even like 2 gallons of water would work. If you're at home and you don't have any equipment and you're on a budget, that would work totally fine. Each gallon is gonna weigh 8 pounds, just so you know. So our Romanian deadlift is a hip hinge movement, and that is the main thing that you need to know here. That and that we're working the glutes and hamstrings. So I'm gonna show you from the side. So feet are gonna be underneath the hips. We want the shoulders set back and we want the core braced. So from here, we're going to hinge from the hips and then we're gonna drive through the heels to stand back up just to neutral at the top. So we're gonna hinge, pushing the hips back as far as you can and then coming back to the top. So we wanna think about feeling a stretch through the hamstrings and then squeezing the glutes at the top of the movement. So you'll notice that my back is super flat here. As soon as you start to get some rounding, you're gonna feel a lot of tension in your lower back, which is not what we're looking for here. So just make sure that you're keeping good posture, you're keeping your shoulders back, that core braced, and keeping soft knees as well. So you can almost think about that you're just kind of tipping over a cliff, and that sometimes helps. Knowing the muscle groups that you are targeting can help, because while you're doing the exercise, you want to try to think about feeling those muscles working. So if you know that you're trying to work your glutes and hamstrings and you're feeling it all in your lower back, then that's a good sign that something is not right there and we need to change that form a little bit. Okay, so next we're gonna go over a chest press movement. So there's lots of, again, like everything else, there's lots of different ways that you can go about working your chest. I'm gonna show you a dumbbell chest press. I have a slight incline on my bench here, but you can do these flat, you can do them on the floor, you don't even need a bench. You can do them just on a mat. Or it's also very similar to a bench press, a little bit different with dumbbells versus a barbell, but kind of getting the same benefits out of both. So this is going to work your chest muscles, a little bit of the front of your shoulders, and then your triceps a little bit as well, which is the back of your arms. So we are going to lay back. So one of the most important things that you always want to think about when you're doing any exercise is posture. So good posture is always going to be the foundation of good form. So we're gonna start at the top here. I'm gonna keep my chest lifted. I'm gonna keep my feet grounded into the floor. So I'm gonna slowly lower and then press up and together. The benefit of doing dumbbells versus a barbell is that you have a little bit more freedom of movement. So, but my hands are slightly angled in versus a bar, they'd be super straight. So it just allows for a little bit more freedom for you to work with your joints and your body. And allowing for just if you have old injuries or you are feeling any pain, it just allows for a little bit of freedom with that rotation of the hand. So As I just finished, you hopefully noticed that I brought the weights down and then sat up with them. You want to be really careful about ending from here and then letting them fall to the side, because you could hurt your shoulder or pull a muscle if it kind of cranked you in the wrong way. So that is your chest press. A really good home variation for this would be your push-up, which most people know what a push-up is, but doing push-ups on your toes is not always an option for everybody, especially if you've had some shoulder injuries in the past or you have some pains. So what I would recommend doing is finding a counter or some sort of surface that is maybe waist height or a little bit higher, and then do your push-ups off of that surface. And that is going to put you at an angle that is gonna make it a little bit easier, so that way you can build up strength slowly, and then as you get stronger, you can try to lower that angle a little bit. You can always do them on the floor as well, from your knees, as a lesser option than, you know, a normal push-up on your toes. Next, we're gonna go into a dumbbell row. So we just worked the front. I'm a big believer in balance, so we need to work both sides. A lot of people tend to think about the muscles that they can see the most, so their chest, their biceps, their quads, but the back side of the body is, I would argue, more important. So we are going to do a basic dumbbell row. So again, this, you don't necessarily need a bench for this. You can always just do it in a staggered stance here, pulling. But since I am here at the Manchester gym, I can utilize the tools that we have. So I'm gonna kneel with one leg. I'm going to bring the other leg out to kind of split the weight in between my two legs. And then we're gonna have the weight hanging straight down. So you wanna try not to be kind of shifted too much in any direction. We kind of wanna create a nice solid foundation between the 3 points. From here, we're gonna row that dumbbell towards your hip. So this movement is working your back, specifically your lats. So what I want you to think about while you're doing this is pulling with your elbow. A lot of people tend to kind of pull with their hand, and all that's gonna do is really work your arm. And we wanna work this muscle here. So this is your lat. So as you drive your elbow, you're gonna pull your shoulder back and down, and that's gonna help you feel the exercise in your lat. So just think about shoulder back and down and pulling from your elbow, and that will help with that. And then of course, make sure you do both sides. This is also a great exercise to get the core involved as well, because we're just doing it in one hand. You're gonna use those core muscles to stabilize your body through the movement. So again, just to show you without the bench, we can be kind of in a staggered position here, and then you can accomplish the same thing. So whether you're using your gallon of water or dumbbell that you have at home, all good options and great for the back muscles. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us again. We look forward to the next segment where we can teach you some more tricks and tools for your home fitness program. If you have any questions or you want to reach out with comments, anything at all, you can reach us at info@themanchestergym.com. You can visit our website, themanchestergym.com, or you can give us a call at 802-768-9700. I want to thank GNAT very much for allowing us this opportunity to share our passion with you guys at home, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time.